Many think winners are born with rare talent, luck, or perfect timing. They believe success comes easy to those with natural gift. But the truth is different. Winners are built through persistence, focus, and unshakable belief. The mindset of a winner is not inherited. It is created. Oui. Once upon a time in a busy town surrounded by wide rivers and golden fields, there lived a young man named Daniel. He was 26 years old, full of energy, and filled with dreams of achieving something big in life. Since childhood, Daniel had often imagined himself as someone admired and respected, someone who would rise above all difficulties and make a name for himself. But though his dreams were bright, his heart was troubled. Deep inside, he carried doubts that grew stronger with each passing year. Whenever he tried to move forward and work toward his goals, his mind stopped him with a flood of fearful thoughts. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I am not good enough? These questions haunted him and made him give up again and again. From the outside, Daniel looked strong. His shoulders were broad, his body healthy, and his face gave the impression of confidence. But inside, he felt weak. His thoughts ruled him like a master. He often compared himself with others and felt small. He would look at his friends who had already built good careers and his neighbors who lived happily with their families, and he would say to himself, I am behind them. I cannot be like them. I will never catch up. Every comparison tied a new chain around his feet, and no matter how much he wanted to move forward, those chains pulled him back. One evening, Daniel sat in the town square, his mind restless as usual. He overheard a group of men talking about a mentor who lived on the edge of town. They said this man had once been a champion athlete, someone who had fought and trained hard, never giving up even when the battles were tough. He was known for his courage and discipline, and after retiring, he chose to live a simple life near the wood. Many young people went to him for advice, and he guided them on how to build strength in both body and mind. Daniel listened carefully. Something inside him awakened. Something that had been asleep for a long time. For the first time in months, he felt a spark of hope. If this man has trained himself to overcome fear, Daniel thought, maybe he can also teach me. Maybe he can show me how to be strong. That night, Daniel decided that he would go and meet the mentor. The next morning, Daniel walked across the fields. The grass was wet with dew, and the fresh air filled his lungs. After some time, he reached the edge of town where the trees grew thick and the world felt quieter. There, in a simple house surrounded by birds and flowers, he found the old champion. The man was not young anymore. His hair was gray, his face carried wrinkles, and his body showed the signs of age. Yet there was something about him that made Daniel stop and stare. His eyes were sharp, steady, and full of life. His presence was calm yet powerful, as if he carried the strength of mountains and the silence of deep rivers. Daniel walked up to him with respect and said, Master, I want to succeed. I want to achieve my dreams, but my fear always stops me. My mind tells me that I cannot do it. Can you help me? The old champion looked at him quietly for a moment. Then he gave a gentle smile and said, So you want the mindset of a winner. If you truly wish to learn, I will give you a test. He walked inside and returned with a large stone. It was heavy, rough, and solid. He placed it in Daniel's hands and said, Carry this stone to the top of that hill you see there, and then bring it back. But remember, you must not drop it, no matter how tired you become. Daniel held the stone and began walking toward the hill. At first, it seemed simple. His arms felt strong, his legs were steady, and his spirit was fresh. But as the climb grew steeper, the stone pressed harder against his chest. His arms began to ache. His legs trembled and sweat rolled down his forehead. His breath grew short, and soon the thought of giving up appeared in his mind. He looked down at the ground and thought, if I put this stone down now, nobody will blame me. It is too heavy. But then he remembered the mentor's words. You must not drop it, he whispered to himself. If I stop now, I will always be the same. If I keep going, I might change. He tightened his grip, pushed himself forward, and took one more step, then another. The climb was slow, and his body was trembling, but he did not stop. Finally, he reached the top, exhausted, but still holding the stone. With careful steps, he walked back down and placed the stone before the mentor. The mentor looked at him with calm eyes and asked, Tell me, Daniel, what did you feel while carrying this stone? Daniel wiped the sweat from his face and said, At first I felt confident, but soon it became hard. I wanted to give up. Yet something inside me told me that if I stopped, nothing in my life would change. So I kept going step by step, even though it was painful. The mentor smiled. That is the secret, he said gently. Winners are not born strong. They become strong by refusing to give up. Everyone feels pain. Everyone feels fear. But a winner does not allow those feelings to control him. A winner keeps his eyes on the goal and moves step by step until he reaches it. The stone was heavy, but it was your teacher. It taught you persistence, discipline, and focus. This is the mindset of a winner. Daniel's eyes slowly filled with understanding. For the first time, he realized that the strength he had been searching for was not somewhere outside. It was already inside him. It was not about waiting for the perfect moment, not about comparing himself with others. It was about deciding to keep going, no matter how heavy the burden felt. It was about believing in himself, even when his mind whispered doubt. He bowed his head with respect and said softly, Master, now I understand. If I want to win, I must believe in myself. I must keep moving forward even when it is hard, even when I am afraid. The mentor smiled again. The evening sun was slowly setting and the sky turned golden. Birds flew back to their nests and the air was filled with peace. Daniel stood there for a moment, breathing deeply, feeling as though something inside him had shifted. When he walked back home that night, he was no longer the same doubtful young man who had arrived that morning. His steps felt lighter, his heart calmer, and his eyes clearer. The chains that had held him down were gone. He had carried a heavy stone up a hill. But more importantly, he had carried himself past his own fear. From that day on, Daniel lived with a new spirit. Life still gave him difficulties, and there were days when he felt tired. But he no longer allowed fear to rule him. He remembered the climb, the stone, and the mentor's words. And every time he faced a new challenge, he told himself, this is just another stone. If I carry it step by step, I will become stronger. Slowly, his life began to change. His work became more focused, his heart more disciplined, and his dreams more alive. He was not perfect, but he was no longer weak inside. He had found the mindset of a winner.